Hello everyone. In this video I wanted to show you how to have all of your sample libraries, virtual instruments for music all in the same environment, and this environment would be the Komplete Kontrol software. The idea is to have everything that you own in the same place to make producing music easier and more fast. So the idea of Komplete Kontrol is that it can host obviously Kontakt libraries, but it can host actually any of the virtual instrument that you might have, which is really the power of it. And the main concept is that you have two types of libraries or instruments. You have the one that are officially out of the box compatible with Komplete Kontrol that will display in this main view that we see right now. And you have the ones that are not. And the purpose of this video, the idea is to show to you the methods to get all of these other instruments, the ones that do not appear first in Komplete Kontrol, to bring them in and have them all here with you in the same software, ready to be used in your DAW. So the idea behind that is that afterwards in your DAW, in your template, inside your tracks, you would not have instances of various different VST. That would be Kontakt for the Kontakt libraries, and then other themes and other sample libraries that are using proprietary VSTs. The idea is that everything is within a Komplete Kontrol software, so the actual VST in the track, in your instrument tracks, would actually be Komplete Kontrol. So I will use my example, my own collection of libraries to demonstrate this. As you can see right now, the Komplete Kontrol software is on the main page, and the main page is the one that you see when you open that, and then before you actually click on this toggle. And the toggle says toggle between factory and user created content. So the idea is that everything in the factory content, there's nothing here that I need to teach anyone, because when it's factory content, it's going to come here, it's going to appear. So but we can discuss about what is the factory content. We can see it in two parts. They are the Kontakt libraries that are made to be compatible with the Kontakt player. And when you buy a Kontakt library, or check on a Kontakt library, you always wonder about that. Does it need the full version of Kontakt, or does it need the player? Does it only need the Kontakt player? When it does, it actually means more than that. It means that also it's completely NKS compatible, and then it means that it's going to be present right away in this view, in this initial first collection seen in the main page of Komplete Kontrol. But you have another type of library that will appear here. These are going to be the libraries not built on Kontakt, but on other proprietary engines, but that have been made compatible with Komplete Kontrol because of being what they call an NKS partner, and that would be the case for certain of the software developers that we see in here. So if we take this one, for example, this would be an actually Kontakt player libraries, such as this one and this one and this one. But for example, these two ones are going to be non-Kontakt libraries, and actually they're on VSTs, but they are NKS partner. So when you do the installation correctly and follow the steps, they will also appear very easily in Komplete Kontrol, and there's nothing to actually there's nothing complicated to do about them for them to appear in this view. So you're going to right away benefit from things like previews and pre-mapping on the Komplete Kontrol keyboards, but today I'm not going to talk about either of that, like the Komplete Kontrol keyboard mapping, or the fact that you can also manage FX VST in Komplete Kontrol. The idea of the video is really to show how you can have your instruments, your sample instruments or your synths, but everything about the musical instruments, have them all within the same environment. That is again the Komplete Kontrol software. So this is the main page, and then everyone is going to get this if you install correctly your Kontakt player compatible libraries and NKS partner, third-party plugins from other developers. You're going to get them all in here. What we're going to be working on today is the view that you get when you toggle between the factory and the user-created content. Because if I click on that, you can see that I have like another library on the side. So ideally, they would be better if we could find a way to have them all in the same unique view, but it's really just like a click of a button away to get this. And everything that you see in here is actually the libraries that are not compatible at first with Komplete Kontrol, and that you just need to do a little bit of work to get this going and to get this view and this, professional looking presentation. And this is what I'm going to be explaining today, step by step. So the idea here is that, as we had on the previous page, we have two types of libraries, and we can call them libraries, although they are not officially libraries, but they appear like so right now. So we have two types. We have the Kontakt libraries that are not Kontakt player compatible libraries. And we also have other libraries, VST instruments, that are not NKS partner. So that explains why they don't appear in the main view of Komplete Kontrol. And the idea here is that we can work around this with a few steps to have them be present in this view and look somewhat professional with like tags and thumbnails and a filtering capability that Komplete Kontrol is offering. So all these libraries, they are present in here because I have added them. And to do this, you need to be in Preferences. And in Preferences, you have Library. In here, you can see all the factory ones. So these are the ones that we saw on the previous page. It's confirmation that they are here and that they're part of the factory, bunch of libraries that we have. But if you go to user, this is where I have manually added all the rest of the libraries, and you can give them a name and you just feed their location. And then if something is problematic, you can also at any point rescan. So you can see that I've added a lot of libraries in here, and that this list of library is actually present in here when I close that. So what we can do now is undo something that I have done and redo it so that you understand how it's done. So we're going to take the example of the DAW ensemble here from SonusCore. So SonusCore is doing some libraries that actually are Kontakt player compatible and do not need this process. But this one is an example of a library that does not work this way. So what I'm going to do first in the preferences is to actually remove this library. So I'm going to find it here in SS for underscore, and then I'm going to remove that. There's a little glitch right now because it's actually killing all the display, but now we can see that this library in particular is not there anymore. Okay, so if you were started from that point, here what the steps would be. The first step, and this is the most important step, is to understand that at first, this library that we saw doesn't exist as a library. It's just a Kontakt instrument. And the first very important step is to make this library become somehow a Kontakt library by creating this library in Kontakt just by referencing it. So I have open Kontakt in here. And then what you need to be doing actually in Kontakt is to go here, add a custom library, browse for it, and then select it. Make sure that you have the name that you want the library to be named later on everywhere, because it's going to use the folder name. So if you select this folder, the root folder, although all the instruments are inside, it doesn't matter. You select this instrument, this folder, sorry. And now, because you've added that, Kontakt has created the concept of a library for it. And you can, it's enough to do it only once, and you can, even after that, if you don't want it in this view later, you can actually even remove it. But just by having done that, somewhere in your system, this can be now considered a library and can be understood as such by the Komplete Kontrol software. So from this step now, what we can do is go into the preferences again, in user there, then add. Now the browser is really problematic because it's not the nice one when you can just directly jump to a path, so you have to do it this way. So I know where mine is. So you navigate all the way to here. And then now when you're going to click this folder, the idea is that this folder is now in your system known to actually be a Kontakt library. If we had not done the step before, this would not work. So now by doing this, I have it here. I can name it like that. And then I can just close that. And does it appear? No. So the step that's missing is to actually go back here, go where we put it with the name, and then do a rescan. And because we did a rescan, now it's appearing. So I had done some steps before because obviously this library was already here. You wouldn't see a picture in here because you need an extra step to see a picture right there. And I'm going to show you where it's at. So you actually need to go in here. So you'll see drive, users, public documents, native instruments, resources, images. And then here you need to create a folder that is named exactly like your library is named. But remember, like, that your library is named based on the folder name that you decided to import in Kontakt to create the idea of a Kontakt library. So what we can try to do live is to actually go and then remove the picture and then see what we would see if we did that. So that would be this one. You see that it's the exact same name. And then inside here, you need to bring a picture that has a specific size. As you can see here, 318 by 159 would be the ideal, because that's what the system expects. So you can go on the internet, search in Google Image, and then bring the picture that you would like to see in here. Usually it's easy to do. And you need to name it inside this folder exactly mstartwork.png. You don't need to do any conversions or anything, because the image files are always or most likely compatible. So you're gonna get like a JPEG or any type, and you just like change the extension, and then you're going to be good to go. So this is how you actually bring the images in here. So with these Kontakt libraries, a thing that we can also do is to have previews. The instruments that are compatible with the Kontakt player, and therefore usually NKS, they, by requirement from native instrument, they have to come with previews, and so that's why the partner developers do. And in my case, I have done it for several libraries, and for this one I have done that. So when I actually do click on the NKI instrument that's been found in this library that I scanned, when I click on it, I'm going to get the preview that I made for that. So if we look at the NKI itself, we can see that inside of it, we have obviously the usual instrument folder for Kontakt. And then this is the NKI that has been found. So to get previews in the native instrument ecosystem, it's pretty simple. Actually, it's really simple, and it works with different type of files. You just need to make a .preview with an S folder at the same location as the files, and it needs to be named the name of the instrument, including the extension, and then with the proper extension .org. And then once these exports are done and match exactly, then the system automatically is going to pick it up and then play the preview for you. So this is really handy, because in the end, when you consider like a regular factory library that has, like appear in your list, is cleanly named, has a visual, a nice picture to go with it, the list of instruments, and that the instrument do have the preview, then it is so, so close to the actual experience of having a factory content, which for me is really like a game changer. So as you can see here, these are all my non-factory libraries, and I would like to jump on showing how to manage instruments that are not Kontakt libraries. So to demonstrate this, we will take again an example by removing a thing that's already there. So in this case, I will use Ample Sound, Ample Percussion Cloud ROM. So like we did before, let's go into Preference and Library, and then remove that one. So that would be in here. So in this case, I have brought many libraries at once by scanning a folder that contains multiple ones just to save time. So it's also interesting. So if I do remove that and close and then refresh, because we get that glitch, but now I'm missing a few of these libraries, and we're going to find where they are. So if I navigate where my instruments are, in here, I have a folder in here, ampersand, and these are libraries that corresponds to an actual VST that is not a Kontakt, and actually each of these libraries have like a different instance of a VST. They're, you know, instruments that are independent from each other. And you can see here that I've created a folder that is called NKS with files inside that are NKSF, which is like an NKS file, and which is the format that non-Kontakt instrument will use to actually exist in the complete control environment. So the idea when you start from scratch from doing this is that you will start by, in complete control, actually loading your instrument. So we're going to go and then find that one. So we're going to go File and Instruments. And then here your instruments, they appear in terms of like, you know, the VST that they are. So you go in your VST or VST3. In this case, these instruments are VST2 only. So I go here, ampersand, and then I can choose it. So there's nothing special to do about that. Those instruments will appear here because it's just part of the installation and then existing in the VST folders. So if they are discoverable here, it means they're also discoverable in your DAW, and it means the installation of this instrument has been successful. So there's nothing really special about having them present in here. So now that I've done that, I click on here to exit the library area and then be on the instrument instance. And then this is just an instance of that VST right now. So what I can do from here is save that as an NKS file, just so that I can reference it later as a library. So I can do File and then do a Save As. You see that I don't have a choice for the location, because what the system will do is bring it into a default user area. So I can name it again and then save that. Now it exists like this. And because I have created that, it's created something in the user area. So if I go in the user area here, I can see that, you know, I'm already on that file. That's why it's pre-selected. And you can see that ampersand developer name has been put in here. And then the file that I created exists in here. And why does it appear there inside the user view in here? Well, I can show in Explorer, which is going to take us to a path that you should also save somewhere as a shortcut so that you have access to it easily. But you can see that in native instrument, so user, my name, documents, native instrument, you have user content, and then you have that folder and then the file that we just made. So the idea for us is to not keep anything into these, these C paths, because the idea is to create these, they will appear, and then what you can do is move them into a data drive that makes sense based on the library that you're trying to bring into your system. So what I do is that I create an NKS folder and then bring my files in here. Okay, so that would be, this one would be that one. It's actually in this case name exactly the same. So I would bring that one in here, which I have done before, and I've done the same for the same developers' other instruments. And then from here, now that you have done that, you can, after that, delete this one because you do not want it to be present. You want to rescan this. So a simple way to actually do that is to just delete the file once you have copied it, of course. So you can even delete the whole folder. Now we did not pick it up because you will need to actually restart and rescan. But now the path is free to actually go in your preferences and then go into library and then user and then just add the folder with the copied version that came from the user folder. So you can go here, and then in this case, we are that one. And then all the files that I made as complete control instrument files are present in this NKS folder. So I can just do that. And then I can give it a name. So ampersand all, because I'm saying that everything from this developer will be at this root folder. And I can rescan. And then once that I have rescan, all these are in here. And now if so I'm still, of course, in my user view. Now, if I filter with ampersand, I have all of them. And then same idea in here is that the fact that the images are present really comes from having put the images with the same method. So let's see how it works for these, because it's a little bit different. In the case of these, where they are not contact libraries, you actually need to put the name of the developer first, and then the name of the name of the instruments. And then in here, the same thing, master artwork.png. And here, in here too. And by doing these steps, you're going to, after a restart, you're going to see all the visuals being present. So on these, I have not done previews. But actually, the good news that it works exactly the same as long as you respect the name files, including their extensions. So if in here I had a folder named .previews this way, and then I'm just gonna pretend that I have some, but actually it was this file. So I'm going to create a new file in here. And then this would be an actual, audio file, ogvorbis. And then it would be named exactly this way. Then when clicking on the file in here, I would automatically get the preview. So there you go. That would be the way to get all these libraries sorted out. The only other things that I would like to add on this is that you have people that are making available a bunch of libraries this way by creating all the complete control and previews for certain libraries. That's the case of Labs from Spitfire and a few other, Noctua from Venus Theory, UVI instrument. That's also really nice in my opinion. So what you can do is search on the Native Instrument website. You have a community of people making these NKS files for a bunch of different instruments, and you just have to download those NKS folders and then reference the NKS folders in Complete Control. And it's really nice because it does come most of the time with previews. So it's like a real benefit for my libraries, especially because these are libraries that I like. If you take the example of Labs, there's a lot of good instruments, but without having the previews to go through them, you would never know what you have. So I particularly enjoy that. So the last thing that I would like to cover in this video is actually the tagging system. So it's important to understand that you have not the same amount of control on the factory libraries and the non-factory libraries that you're actually going to build on that page. So if we go to the factory libraries, we're going to start displaying the information and then the tags. You can see that when we are in here, we are getting tags, but we are not getting like an edit toggle, just because obviously the developers as NKS partners have created tags that make sense for them and that are part of the product, and you actually cannot modify them. So that's why we get like a read only in here. It's not going to teach how to use them, but you can filter things by, you know, brass, and then I have brass in R keys, but you know, then you can just have the French on, and then that's what you get as a result, as a final result for this set of filters. And then you can remove the filters like this, but we cannot edit these tags. So the difference is that when we go into the user library, then here we do have control on that. So for example, if I click on this one, I put the layer and then ARP and you know, character, antique, grease, and these are the ones that I created myself. They did not exist, and of course I can keep editing them with the way I want, and obviously in this view keep filtering everything. So you know, you can start from flute, and then I have these, and same for the types. So that's kind of like the idea. So again, there's no way currently right now around the idea of having two core pages, one that would be the factory one and one that is the user one. So you know, the only trade-off, if you want, is to actually have to browse and navigate your instrument always in two views. What do I have in my factories libraries? What do I have in my non-factory libraries? And then when you start filtering, etc., you need to go from one to the other. I believe that the filters are stay on, so that's convenient, because you can see that if I'm searching for guitar, for example, and I click on guitar, it's like, this is everything that I do have in terms of like factory. But if I click here, then this is everything that I have in terms of non-factory, but the filters are still being applied. So my opinion is not the end of the world. I would really love that in a later release, they actually somewhat kind of like merge into the same view without having to toggle between factory content and user created content. And that the fact that it's factory or non-factory would be like maybe a little icon that we would see next to the library or something like that. I don't think it's very complex to do, but it would just, you know, help us with having an even more like unified view. So I hope that this video has been interesting for everybody. Don't hesitate to ask questions or suggestions in the comments, and thank you.